Well, when you hear somebody say all these things about you, I'm looking around trying to figure out who he was talking about. Thank you for that introduction. And also I saw by looking at the program that we are fellow members of the 18th Airborne Corps. So that's great, that's great. Well, first I'd like to take a moment to thank and recognize all of our elected officials that have taken the time to be here today. Our first responders, administrators, educators, citizens, but most of all, our veterans, for being here today to honor those who have had the privilege and honor to become members of the Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Arms. Let us take a moment to express our thanks to our nation's veterans. Catching some of my pages here is going to end up being a shorter remarks than it may be planned on here, so I got to hold on. I'd like to take a moment to share with you one of my favorite poems or sayings from the man John Stuart Mill, who was a philosopher in the 1800s. And he said this: "War is an ugly thing, but not the ugliest of things. The decayed and degraded state of moral and patriotic feeling which thinks that nothing is worth war is much worse. The people who have nothing for which he is willing to fight, nothing which is more important than his own personal safety, is a miserable creature and has no chance of being free unless made and kept so by the exertions of better men than himself." Across this great nation and throughout the world, Americans will pause this day to honor our brave fighting men and women who for more than 230 years have underwritten our freedom by their duty, honor, and selfless service. We recognize that all our veterans have given something of themselves to this country, and some have given all, laying down their lives to defend the freedoms that we hold dear. World War I, the Great War, the war to end all wars, shook the nations of the world for 4 years, claiming 20 million lives. The armistice was signed on the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, and since then, nations commemorate that event with a moment of silence. This day is observed around the world. It has many names: Armistice Day, Remembrance Day, the Day of Peace. It once was a celebration of silencing of cannons of World War I and is now a day when nations around the world pause in a moment of silence with solemn pride and remembrance of the heroism of those who have served, those who are currently serving, and those who died in our country's service. Throughout my life, I've been blessed with the opportunity to meet veterans across this great nation and across the globe. I have had them share their stories with me. When you hear these stories, you realize that our nation's lineage of veterans is woven of the patchwork of humanity of which our great nation is comprised. I have humbly walked the beaches of Normandy with members of the D-Day invasion forces, members which Peter Jennings called the greatest generation, as they modestly and humbly told me of their extraordinary acts of valor and bravery that day that would, without a doubt, save civilization as we know it. I have had the honor of sitting with a Korean War veteran in his modest home in Petersburg as he flipped through the pages of his memory books, sharing with me selfless acts done by he and the members of his unit to earn medals that I presented to him over a half-century later as a small token of thanks and admiration from a grateful nation. Our nation once again faces challenging times that will truly test the very fabric of this great nation. In a time where our nation has seen America, that shining city upon the hill whose beacon light guides freedom-loving people everywhere, as President Ronald Reagan emphasized in his farewell address. Quite frankly, that light has dimmed some. Due to the onslaught of challenges faced before us, we find ourselves searching. As we turn on the news or we pick up a newspaper, we continue to seemingly see never-ending tragic falls from grace of elected officials, corporate and civic leaders from Main Street to Wall Street. The collateral damage is all around us. Sometimes it seems as though we are looking to the hills for someone to save us. The year I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army was 1984. And in that year, a song came out on the charts called Holding Out for a Hero on the soundtrack of Footloose. Now, for those younger people that are here today, I'm not talking about the Footloose that's in the theaters now. There was actually a Footloose that was before that one, the original one with Kevin Bacon. But in that song, the lyrics stated, I need a hero. I'm holding on for a hero to the end of the night. He's got to be strong, and he's got to be fast, and he's got to be fresh from the fight. I need a hero. I'm holding on for a hero to the morning light. He's got to be sure, and it's got to be soon, and he's got to be larger than life. You see, veterans are our true patriots, our true heroes. Now, they're not superheroes. They don't don elaborate costumes and have superpowers of strength or flight. They are our neighbors, our sons and our daughters. They are our husbands, our wives. They are you. They are me. And the common denominator is their love of country and their desire to selflessly serve of themselves. And it is these citizens that we must honor today. Those among us, those far away in foreign lands, those who have given of themselves the ultimate sacrifice, but make no mistake, they are true heroes, real life heroes. Heroes like Lance Corporal Cody Childers, 19, a resident of Chesterfield, who was killed in combat in Afghanistan in 2010. Army Specialist William Kyle Middleton. Michael J. Gray. Charles A. Ransom. 3 citizens, not superheroes, just like you and me, except for one thing, that they took that step forward when their nation called them and did not hesitate to serve. Heroes like Sergeant Jayton Patterson, who I just left Tide War Academy down in Wakefield, where they were honoring him today, a Tidewater Academy graduate that gave his life for our freedom. As you hear these stories, I invite you to reflect upon the words of a famed author, Mark Twain, who wrote, "In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man, and brave and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid then join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot." Was that uncomfortable? That silence? Well, that was planned, because silence is uncomfortable at times. But you see, our world is not a silent place. It is not a peaceful world either. Just as we struggle to be silent, to be still for a moment, our world struggles with war, strife, injustice, hunger, disease, and destruction. And it cries out in need. Our service members heeded and continue to heed the call to the cries of the world. They do not sit back in silence, but they stand forward against a chaotic world to bring peace. 18th century British statesman George Canning once stated, and he asked this question, which I'm going to ask all of you today. When our perils have passed, shall our gratitude sleep? It's a pretty powerful question. And I'm going to say it again. When our perils have passed, shall our gratitude sleep? We must not allow our nation's gratitude to sleep. So for today, let us reserve some time of reverent silence. Think of selfless sacrifice and not of supermarket sales. Let us reverently reflect and not focus on recreation. Have this be a day of remembrance and not just another day off. Because you see, this is not just a holiday, especially for those who serve. Now I'd like to take a moment to share with you a eulogy for a veteran. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow, I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on the ripened grain, I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. This is why Veterans Day is so important. So that our veterans never truly die. Honor our veterans in your own way. I'm a member of the Organization of Patriot Riders. And that's a group that we have groups all across the country that attend memorial services of fallen comrades so that the families have the opportunity to properly honor these heroes. As a matter of fact, I was there standing tall at Kyle's memorial. I personally hand deliver any military award that our office receives for a service member because no matter how many years have passed, the award should be bestowed upon that service member with honor and reverence. These are some of the ways that I have chosen to honor our veterans. Find your own personal way to honor those who have served and those who have continued to serve. So just not on this day, but every day, thank a soldier, thank a sailor, thank an airman, thank a Marine, thank a Coast Guardsman, thank a veteran. Why? Because they selflessly serve people they have never met. Because they faithfully answer the call. Because, well, you fill in the blank. I know that there's a personal reason in your life, so thank them. Thank a veteran. Thank you for the great honor of being here today.